Coming up on Mountain News this morning, thousands of Eastern Kentuckians continue the tough job of cleaning up after historic flooding left many communities covered in mud and debris. And Governor Andy Beshear addresses the frustrations many people in our region are experiencing with FEMA as they try to get back to their normal lives.
Dedicated to Eastern and Southern Kentucky, this is WYMT Mountain News this morning.
Good morning to you. It is Tuesday. I'm Dakota Makris, and it's, well, almost 5 o'clock here. And let's take it over to meteorologist Paige Noel for a look at our forecast this morning. And Paige, I almost called you Brandon. So I was like, which one am I tossing to today?
You got me at least for the next couple of days. Yeah. So you better get used to it.
I do.
Yeah. If you're stepping out the door in the next little bit, you're going to notice, as I noticed, as a lot of us did early this morning, is we got that dense fog out there. You definitely want to take it easy as you're stepping out the door. Here's a look just outside here in Hazard. It's just really dealing with that thick fog. Hard to see at times, can just barely see those lights here as we look outside the WYMT studio here. Here's a look where we are dealing with those visibility issues. That 10 in Hazard, I'm going to go ahead and tell you, is not correct. That sensor is up a little bit higher, but you can definitely see where that fog is building up to parts of West Virginia, a little bit there towards Harlan, down towards Lee County, and over into parts of Wayne County, and even up right there, Rockcastle, Jackson to Estill. A little bit dealing with some fog, and it's going to continue to get worse as we head throughout those morning hours. You can see more widespread dense fog moving in by that 6, 7, 8 o'clock time frame there. So as most of you getting up, headed out the door, just give yourself a few extra minutes to get to where you're going. Of course, by 9, 10 o'clock should really see most of that fog kind of move on out of here. Temperatures a lot cooler this morning at 62 Prestonsburg to 64 Hazard, 61 Wise, a little bit warmer down in Middlesboro at 65 degrees. I think most of us could really drop to those lower 60s over the next hour or so. We're looking at a pretty mild day, mostly dry conditions. I'll have a look at the rest of your forecasts coming up.
All right, Paige, thank you. Thousands of Eastern Kentuckians continue the huge job of cleaning up their homes, businesses, and communities after the historic flooding that impacted our region. To help with the cleanup effort, the Kentucky Transportation Cabinet contracted the company Ashbrit to help with flood debris removal. Crews were working to remove debris on Monday on Highway 476 in Perry County. We talked with the man who lives on that stretch. He says his family had to take everything out of their home. They were able to save about 10% of their belongings. He says the flooding was the scariest event he's ever been through.
It was complete pitch black, and everywhere we were, all you could hear is trees cracking and rocks falling and things just breaking and just the worst sounds that you can ever imagine.
Well, he says they do not have a time frame on when repairs on their house will be finished. Governor Andy Beshear gave more updates on the flood relief effort on Monday. There are still 39 confirmed deaths. 19 of those are in Knott County. 2 women from Breathitt County are still missing. He says right now there are still 157 people in flood shelters and 313 people staying at state parks. The goal is to get all of them moved into travel trailers or other temporary housing soon. There were 94 travel trailers in Eastern Kentucky as of Monday, but so many more will be needed because of 740 people have registered for one. The governor says a special legislative session on flooding will happen, hopefully within the next month. Governor Beshear also announced 100% of the assessments on public bridges have been completed. Nearly 1,100 bridges were inventoried. 27 state and county bridges remain impassable. 56 bridges have been identified for replacement, and an additional 52 bridges have been identified as needing repairs. And the governor updated numbers in regards to water outages as well. For drinking water, there are 4,700 service connections without water, which is down from 40,000 on July 28th. Yesterday, officials reported about 2,000 of those customers are with the city of Hazard, which serves much of Perry County. 23,947 service connections are still under a boil water advisory. Those numbers are down from 46,000 on July 28th. Well, 2 more disaster recovery centers are open in Eastern Kentucky. The new sites are at the Magoffin County Health Department and the Owsley Rec Center. Flood victims can talk with agents and sign up for aid. There are 7 other centers, all open from 7 to 7 Monday through Saturday and from 1 to 7 on Sundays. Well, during his flood update on Monday, the governor addressed frustrations from many Kentuckians regarding FEMA assistance. The The governor said strides have been made towards improving its response. FEMA officials are now calling people whose claims were denied, trying to find the issue. Officials at disaster recovery centers also now have the ability to approve claims on the spot, some even going door to door.
In at least some of the mobile units that are going home to home, not all yet because of their number of personnel, there may be someone on site there that can give approval.
Well, the governor is asking everyone whose claim has been denied or is still waiting for approval to go to one of the disaster recovery centers or call the FEMA hotline. A new text line will also be available starting today. As some express their frustrations with FEMA, a team of lawyers says it will offer free legal help to applicants who have been denied aid. Joe Childers is a civil litigation attorney in Lexington, but got his start at Apple Red in eastern Kentucky. More than 9,200 applications have been filed with FEMA for individual assistance, but only around 4,500 have been approved. He says he wants to do his part to help those who have lost everything.
Many of my acquaintances and friends have been through this flooding. It's devastating. And I just feel like it's something we can do as a legal community.
Those facing a FEMA denial or who might need some additional assistance should contact the hotline using the number at the bottom of your screen for free legal aid. The number is monitored Monday through Friday from 8 until 4:30. As our region deals with the aftermath of disaster, public health officials are still reminding everyone to follow COVID safety precautions. The flood brought many people together physically, which contributed to an increase in COVID transmission. And with schools starting for many children, public health officials say it is even more important now to continue practicing COVID safety measures.
The case rates in all of our counties are red right now for transmission and the high community levels, so we should be taking precautions. We should still consider masking when we're going into high volume areas where there's lots of people.
Recent CDC guidelines say if you have been exposed to COVID, you are not required to quarantine, but it is still important to monitor yourself to see if you have any symptoms arise and to test yourself 5 days after exposure to confirm your COVID status. With schools starting for many Eastern Kentucky students, healthcare professionals are also reminding everyone of the importance of valuing kids' mental health. Starting school can be stressful, and living through a pandemic and natural disaster can make things worse. So healthcare professionals say if your child's behavior has changed or they are experiencing a disruption in their sleep schedule or a change in their school performance, it is important to check in with them.
The important thing is that we as their parents and their loved ones and those that are important in that child's life, that we approach this with empathy. We have an understanding that this child has suffered a great loss. They've suffered something that has really caused them trauma. They have great concerns about their safety. They may have concerns about the safety of their family members.
Mental health experts say although starting school can cause anxiety for some kids, having a routine and a sense of normalcy can benefit them in the long run. Well, thank you so much for getting your Tuesday morning started with us here on Mountain News this morning. When we come back, a new study predicts some potentially dangerous temperatures becoming more common in parts of the U.S. within the next few decades. That's on the way.
We're actually getting some nicer temperatures here in the mountains. We'll talk about how low those highs are the next few days coming up.